David Neitz and Scott Camporelli. Campo still acting captain in the absence of Anthony Koutafidis. Let's listen in.
Okay. You have a call, Scott. Okay. Nice big spin. There we go. Heads was a call, tails it is. Thanks, David.
Victory for David Neitz. Demons off to the right of screen. To start with, that's the city end. Oh, I reckon it's cold on the boundary side. Here's Tiffany Cherry. G'day there, Tiff.
Hi guys, well I tell you what, hopefully it's not the calm before the storm, because at the moment conditions down here are almost perfect. It's about 16 degrees, there's very little wind, and there's a few rain droplets. Actually, I might have spoken a little bit too soon, but hopefully the rain does hold off. There is forecast, however.
All right, Tiff, thanks for that. Carlton and Melbourne. Going to be a good match. Wayne Schwass with us on Fox Footy Sunday. Wayne, we're looking forward to this. What about yourself?
Absolutely, Clinton. This match shapes up as an enthralling battle. I think with the weather closing in, will definitely suit Dennis Pagan and his Chargers. They were terrific last week against the Eagles, but let's not take anything away from this Demons outfit. To beat Port and then go to Sydney last week and account for that side up there was a terrific effort. So, should be a very enthralling battle, and I would expect that whoever can get their hands onto some clean possessions in and around the midfield, put some forward pressure on the scoreboard before the rain gets in, might come away with a very, very good win this afternoon.
Melbourne have won the last 4 matches between the two clubs. Carlton's last win round 13 of the 2000 season, but 3 of the last 4 have been single-figure margins. And, well, now we await the matchups, and it's good to see Lance Whitnell starting up forward for the Blues.
Yes, Lance Whitnell, centre half, and the man in the new white boots is Brendan Favola. Aren't they flash? And 20 years ago, if you wore those, your name was Phil Carman, or perhaps 1 or 2 others, but you had to fire.
And Nathan Carroll going to pick up Favola. Nicholson to Whitnell is the matchup in the Carlton attacking zone. And no surprise at the other end of the ground with Thornton going to take on David Neitz. That'll be a key matchup. It's Fox Footy Sunday. Enjoy it with us. Digital Sports Active viewers getting the best seat in the house. The Demons to the right, with White contesting early against DeLuca, and it's the Demons who will get the centre clearance. A hurried ball forward by White. Walker into the play early to Scotland, and a nice one for Stevens. Aren't Carlton fans enjoying those 3 names? Stevens to half forward. Bit of a wrestle. Nicholson backed himself to get to the contest and forces it over for a boundary throw-in.
Well, Favola's got the flash boots, but his opponent in Trent Carroll, Nathan Carroll, I should say, he has got the flash haircut. We'll come on up on that shortly as we have a look at the Carlton bench. There's the boots.
There's the hair. He looks one mean dude, so we're saying nothing. Opening half minute, unless you wanted. Yeah, getting deadly silent.
Thanks, Simon.
In the words of a great wrestling commentator, no comment.
Easy,
Thank you, Jack Little. Yeah, an interesting matchup.
Get him up.
Umpires today, McLaren, Rouston and Hendry. Close to the boundary line. You fancy 12 to 14 goals might do us today. Here's Davey against Walker. Gee, if they're matched up alongside of one another today, there's going to be some excitement. 2 first-year players. Davey, 20 years of age. Walker, well, he turns 18 on the 18th of May. So, not old enough to drive to the ground just yet. Thompson, he's been a recent revelation for the Reverend Neil Danaher. Stevens out of the pack. Whelan read it very well. Got in front of Davies. Now, the overlap is in with Brown. He's having a terrific season. Kick touched off the boot. Good smother, Camporelli. Fumble by Whitnell. Nicholson, what's he doing there? Feeding it to Miller. Goes for home. Opening goal, Demons.
Well, a little bit unfortunate for Lance Whitnell. Pushed down into defence. Just needed to be clean with that half volley. Wasn't able to manage that. I thought Scott Camporelli was very good with his pressure here on Nathan Brown. Affected the spoil. There's the fumble there. But then to back it up with a lackadaisy tackle really against David Neitz. Just giving Brad Miller an opportunity like that.
Brad Miller excited. 20-year-old out of Mount Gravatt in Queensland. Well, he's wearing the short sleeve jumper at least.
Adam Ousday getting tracked by Bannister. Bannister's had some big roles and done them well so far this season for the Blues.
He's become their best run-with player as the Demons getting it forward again. This is Miller for Travis Johnston. Peeled off Scotland. Delivers towards Neitz and Thornton. Neitz from behind. You fancy might have the body strength near the boundary line. Thornton did well, kept it in. Now it's out for a boundary throw in just as Cameron Bruce thought the Demons were away.
The Blues have started with Adrian DeLuca. Such is the aerial prowess of Jeff White. Barnaby French would expect it would come on late into this first quarter when White is tiring.
Demons deep in attack here. Holland doing the ruck work in the forward 50. Heffernan playing his second game for the season for the Demons. Forces a boundary throw in. Wheatley, Reid, Ward and Armstrong on the bench to start with for the Demons.
That's one of the great strengths of Melbourne is their running of power, and you've got 4 quality runners on the bench.
Holland bounced off his shoulder. Here's Bruce. Tight angle on the boundary line. Elects to go for it. Misses badly. Hello, a conference between the boundary and the goal umpire. They say it's a behind. Didn't do that last night.
At least they spoke.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that on half-time. Boy, what a weekend of footy we've had. Here's Andrew Walker. Now Camporelli. Dinky little kick to midfield, effective. Johnson had support of Scotland. Former Hawk, Brett Johnson, had 22 touches against the Eagles. And, well, no free kick to Uze. Whitnell, well, just about crashed into him. Carlton away. Holohan likes his chances. Goes for it. Close. Great goal. And Whitnell and Uze want to go on with it. Melbourne fans say, hey, we should have had a free kick. Good presence of mind, the Carlton players, to keep on running, and a touch of class about the Holohan finish.
Yeah, it was a brilliant finish. Ryan Holohan, he's always had magical skills. And over the last 18 months under Dennis Pagan, he has added a little bit of much-needed hard work. There's the free kick that should have been. But Lance Whitnell, he didn't care. He just kept buttering up, got the quick hands out. And have a look at this for a finish. Perfect.
And a good crowd at the MCG on this Sunday afternoon. As we've mentioned, the weather, coolish, threat of rain. But still they're turning out. It's Jeff White, like Darcy and Canberra yesterday, smashing it forward. Miller in front of Thompson. Can he get by Walker? Good tackle. Here's Davey, caressing it towards Holland. Johnson, good work. Under pressure, ball near the boundary line. Johnston unable to control it, a boundary throw in. Bit of holding on back there, top of the screen, Norman with Davey. Camporelli's won the free kick out of that. Told that he's off. Alongside of Heffernan. Big leap! Nearly not quite. Matthew Lappin with a licence to get airborne. Johnston. Whelan under pressure. Uze with a wonderful blind turn and a good handball in front of Travis Johnston. Now to provide the shepherd. Good footy. Johnston to the hot spot deep. Niedermark. Norman provides the spoil. Still under pressure, the Carlton defence. Taking it close to the boundary line. Tied up was Bowyer. Norman is there. Walker as well. Holland shovels it out. Hurried shot goal, missing to the near side. Russell Robertson back in the Demons team after a week suspension.
Thanks, Dave. Right there.
Good forward pressure by the Demons there, just keeping the ball alive, making sure they weren't careless in their attempts to tackle. Created an opportunity for Russell Robertson.
Entertaining opening. Holohan took on Davey. I'll be wary of doing that in future. Here's Walker again. The dream ride continues, and look at that disposal. Absolutely precise. DeLuca to Whitnell. Was he off? No.
Here, straight away.
Lance playing it forward, goes short, Scotland.
Hold there, Brad.
Averaging 23 possessions a game. There's the lead from Favola, the kicker straight. In the forward pocket, Heffernan. Camporelli. Brown, backpedaling. Good kick. White. Uze, loose men on. In the midfield. Miller will wait. Holland takes it. Miller runs. Holland about to be caught from behind. Kicks hurriedly under pressure. And Thornton backs himself, runs out in front of Neitz.
Just good pressure all round, although Carlton have to address the clearance numbers. So far it's 5-1 in favour of Melbourne.
That's it, Dave, right there.
Thornton goes short. Davies, the late call up for Koutafidis. Out wide, Whitnell. Short ball, good movement here, Carlton. This is Bannister. The former Bomber has a loose man out wide, gives it to him. Holohan, the goal kicker, calls for Favola to lead. Goes to DeLuca, good kick. And Adrian DeLuca marks, wants to go quickly. Here's Favola now in space. So they're moving the ball all right.
They are. Carlton this year are playing a little bit differently with the recruitment of players like Scotland and Nick Stevens. Combine that with Houlihan and Lappin. They're terrific users of the ball. They're very patient. They came back into the corridor twice on that occasion. Then they found Houlihan out on the outer side of the ground, who does use the ball very well. That was a terrific piece of play. Throw into that mix also Adrian DeLuca, a big player that gives them a mobile target up forward. Good skills by the young man, ending up in the hands of Brendan Favola.
Scotland having a chat, about to come back on, does so now as Brendan Favola lines up. Career goal number 150. Coming off 6 last week. Hooks it. Led off for the Demons.
It's an interesting matchup at centre-half forward for Melbourne. He's being picked up by Ryan Houlihan, who's and a great runner. It's a very attacking matchup. He's just got to lock down when Melbourne get the footy, though.
Uze getting plenty of the footy early. Thompson, Heffernan, about to be caught from behind. Sensing the danger, hurries the kick to a one-on-one at half forward. Miller held.
Well, that's that matchup I'm talking about with Ryan Houlihan. He's just going to get exposed in the air. And I think Melbourne, they'll see this and they'll just start to try and kick the ball on top of Miller's head. And clearly there he's got an advantage.
He pops it up to Neitz and Bruce in the pocket. Neitz has taken the mark. Was it inside the field of play? Yes. Now, very tight angle. In the pocket at the city end. As there's the first grab. And the second just inside the line. What a season he's having. What a 4 weeks he's had after a goalless opening in the loss to the Hawks by more than 8 goals. He's kicked 24. Oh! He's now got 25 for the year. And that is as good as it gets from David Neitz. Demons get their second.
Well, he's going at better than 50%, David Neitz. 25 goals for the season so far. Look, you go back to the other end where Brendan Favola had a reasonably easy shot from more or less out in front. Wasn't able to convert. The ball goes up the other end. As you mentioned, Jared, that matchup with Miller and Houlihan. Getting the ball down there quickly. Ryan Houlihan caught out of position. Not accustomed to playing at centre-half back, but David Neitz, look, he doesn't need too many opportunities to convert. And that's a great goal from a very acute angle.
White and DeLuca again in the middle. This time nullify one another. Carlton, Johnson and Camporelli. A little skirmish. Johnston back there for the Demons. 16 touches in Sydney last week. Starting on the bench, finding the competition for places suddenly intense in the Melbourne side. Whelan spinning out of trouble. Bruce going quickly to the pocket. Well read by Bowyer against Thompson. The former Hawk. Now Thornton running off from Neitz.
You're right. Just be careful of it.
Well read by Godfrey. We'll have a boundary throw in on the outer wing.
Got a great chat to Neil Danaher on the couch on Monday night, and he really just, I thought, outlined why Melbourne was so poor last week, that they did particularly well a couple of years ago, but realised that in the finals they didn't have the team that would take them all of the way. So they took a couple of gambles at selection of the draft. They went down last year, and now they've got a side he thinks it can challenge, and maybe with another year or so, really challenge for the big stuff.
Here's why. Bruce to Brown on the lead. Neitz had to wait a moment. DeLuca good help back there for Thornton. Now Houlihan. They sprint to this northern side. Davies. Kick goes over his head. Some fluky breezes for them down there. Davies handballs to space. Melbourne should get there first. Johnston leaves it for Heffernan. He's tied up. Whelan back for Travis Johnston. On the left, delivers inside 50. Uze drops it, has time to steady. On the non-preferred, clever. Bruce takes the mark. Thought about playing on. We'll go back and have a shot at goal.
Well, that's the brilliance of Adam Uze right there, encapsulated in about 10 seconds of play. He did fumble and he swung around onto his right foot, but he knew he wasn't going to make it, so he just dobbed it into space where he instinctively knew that Cameron Bruce would be tracking.
Missed the grand final back in 2000 in his first season of league footy. Cameron Bruce now on not too far away of 100 games for his first goal today. He's got it. Cheer squad happy at one end. MCC members delighted at the other. Demons by 13 points.
I've just noticed in those last few passages of play there, the Carlton players just falling off the tackles. It's important when you get the opportunity, put some pressure on, you're able to do that. But as you called it, great vision and awareness to realise. Could have gone to the top of the square out of Uze, but that was terrific, unselfish play and a great finish by Cameron Bruce.
Gee, when you get a Jamar and Jolly back into this side, give them another 20 or 30 or 50 games experience. Melbourne's got the running power, I think, now that is just looking for the tall division to really make them a top 2 team, top 4 team at least.
Camporelli rove to White. This is Whelan, tackled by Stevens. Did well, Rivers. White, Heffernan. Some run about their game now. Thompson the target. Kick carries he. Teague charging after it. Under some pressure. Quick hands for DeLuca. Bowyer. Down to Davies. Good kick, good mark. Reading it well. Just his second game this season. Coming in for Koutafidis as French replaces Morel for Carlton.
Oh.
Gets solidly bumped as he gets the kick to centre half forward. Important ball here, Green. Wonderful hands. Thompson, Melbourne away. Wobbly kick though to half forward. Makes Holland work here at ground level against Norman, who was terrific last week. Carl Norman for Andrew Walker. Davey the smother. Scotland under some pressure. Still Thompson pursuing. Scotland does well. DeLuca in the middle. Now Carlton can go. DeLuca the handball for Johnson. Just pops it up. No one home. All Melbourne. Rivers. Now Uze wants to go on the left. Measures the kick towards Miller on the wing. Good work by Davies to get in the way, knock it down, gather the footy. Bangs it back from whence it came. Green, Uze. Now can chip it over the top for Nicholson. Needed a kind bounce, got it. Rivers. Carlton chasing tail here. Rivers long to half forward for Robertson. In front, Davey. A live wire. 55 out. Gets support. Goes to Bruce. Wonderful play. Oh. How was Aaron Davey overlooked for so long in the VFL?
That's a difficult question to answer, Clinton, and I think the recruiting managers are all a bit embarrassed about it. Perhaps they didn't think that he would settle into the Melbourne environment, but he's such an exciting machine. And if you look around and you look at St Kilda, there's no reason. And I said a couple of minutes ago about having to wait a year or so, but there's no reason with Rivers and a couple of other exciting kids why they can't do it right now.
Bruce has got his second. Melbourne get the jump. They lead by 19 points.
Well, experience is one factor we always consider as vital in premierships, etc. Wayne, and I mean, you at the Kangaroos, you were a pretty young group when you first came through, and right now with St Kilda winning, beating Brisbane, they're one of the younger sides in the competition. If you get the balance right, there's no limitations.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what we're seeing the benefits at that side is the fact of a number of players coming through together at the one time and all developing as a collective group, and that's certainly putting them in good stead. But there's no reason why the Demons aren't able to do that.
Play on!
Back in the centre. White on the second effort in front of Johnston. Johnson of Carlton the tackle. Godfrey away. Hurries it to the pocket. Bruce, is he a chance for number 3? Caught by a terrific tackle. Oh. Brown under pressure. Hurried kick wide, out of bounds.
You got the kick. Sit back. Get your 5 metres, come back. Give some room.
Another look.
Umpire said he got the handball out. He must have just flicked that fist onto it.
Some white.
Lappin short. Spawn down the middle. DeLuca the target. Good pressure from Rivers.
He's incredibly balanced for a young man, Rivers. He just keeps his feet.
Just 19 years of age. Another one of these young guns as Reed gives it to Uze. They're peppering the forward zone. Neitz goes to ground. Play on the call. Robertson a chance. Standing start. Bruce the target. Holland there as well. Carlton with numbers. Lappin for Spawn. Now he's got space on that southern wing. Camporelli is short. Whitnell is long. He goes to Whitnell. Whitnell just tried to knock it in front of Campo, but Green was there to read it. Now White goes short. That was barely 15 to Brown, but paid.
Play on!
Some tired umpires already as Brown feeds Heffernan in the middle. Again, another entry inside 50, and Bruce is going to line up for his third goal.
Oh, it's a difficult matchup, this one. Bruce is such a talented player, and I think it's Spawn who's chasing him around the park, number 18.
Bowyer,
I should say, not Spawn. But he's too talented above his head, I think, and in the air he's just being exposed. Spawn chasing Brad Green at the moment.
Right there.
2 goals, 1 for Cameron Bruce already. Kicked 25 goals last season, 11 at the moment. For a 3-goal opening quarter, misses to the near side. 1 behind.
Well, what's evident from up in the box is the fact that there's some superior leg speed off half back for the Demons, and when their teammates win possession, there's very smart positioning when they want to receive the ball.
Back 3
Blues
minutes.
bring it in short. Scotland.
Right back, where's it close to?
Leaving Neitz, Holland and Bruce up forward does present some matchup difficulties size-wise for Carlton. Bruce, speaking of which, handball off, Holland, open goal for another one. 5-goal opening term for the D's. They lead by 26 points.
Yeah, well, they're a powerful combination, Melbourne. Incredible transformation from this time last year and this time 4 weeks ago. But just an amazing transformation. Exciting for the competition.
Oh, it is, Jared. And look, he's been such a handy pickup, Ben Holland, because they're not relying on David Neitz. David Neitz has only got 1 goal, but a strength of this side is just the spread of goal kickers at the moment. With Bruce 2, David Neitz, you've got Ben Holland with 1 and Brad Miller.
And as much as the scoreboard doesn't reflect it, I think Carlton have been pretty impressive also. They've I know Dennis Pagan will be dirty on the result at the present time, but there's a lot to like about the way they've developed over a 6-week period, and certainly since the draft.
Thanks, fellas.
Earlier last or late last year.
Let him up now. Let him
Saw
up,
an
Bruce,
injury down there on the Demons bench. Tiff, can you fill us in?
Yeah, Brad Miller came off for Daniel Ward, and they're checking his right wrist. Try and say that quickly. And they're just strapping it up at the moment. It looked like he injured it in a marking contest.
Not too cold down there?
No, it's actually quite nice. I'm enjoying it.
Hope it doesn't rain. French getting it down. Stevens.
Got a handball, play on!
Little handball in front of Scotland. Prendergast. Under pressure, good handball for Lappin. Speedster away. Delivers towards Whitnell. Has a couple to beat. There's Rivers again.
Well, Scotland was getting tagged by Thompson, and they've responded to the Blues by putting Scotland onto Travis Johnson.
Uze with a 9-possession opening quarter. This one, the carry for White, who read it very well against French.
Play on now, he's off yours.
Goes short, had a loose man on. Carroll, the run of Green.
Yeah, we've came over.
Again, they go direct inside 50. Too much carry. Davies wins the free.
Davies was picking up Johnson, but he's moved further into defence.
Carlton's first free kick took 21 minutes.
Look at the footy!
Play on.
Margin 26 points.
Yours,
Davies
yours.
near the boundary line for Spawn. Good mark.
Hold that, Brad!
Overall possession-wise, Melbourne with 19 more touches to this point. There's confirmation.
And they just need to get some more out of their key running players. Nick Stevens, just 2 kicks. Camporelli's had 3. And Matthew Lappin has had 3.
Not enough carry on the kick from Spawn, and Robertson in front.
Compare that to Melbourne's better players. Uze's had 9 possessions. Johnson's had 7 possessions. Cameron Bruce has had 8 possessions.
And now Daniel Ward a chance to get involved. Nicholson providing the run out of defence. Go figure. Now an opening. Godfrey. Excellent smother. Charging out by Lappin. Stevens. Carlton on the counter-attack now. Walker from Camporelli. Whitnell from half-back. Loose man on the wing. Prendergast takes the mark. Favola on the lead. Can Prendergast give it to him? High one to the goal square. Favola. Will he get it? No. Rivers, terrific spoil. Oh, how good has he played?
Took a lot of Rivers, and there's been few better first year, or not first year, but rising star nominees so far in the opening 6 weeks.
Played just the 3 matches last season. The 19-year-old out of North Adelaide. Carlton win it from the kick in though. Houlihan. Bounce was an awkward one for DeLuca. Whelan. Favola. Stevens. Tight now. Favola under pressure will bounce one towards Prendergast and Uze. Can Prendergast keep it in? He can. Houlihan on the run. Oh, he tried to get it on to Scotland. But the soccer goalie was there, Nathan Brown.
Frank, you want to come back?
That's a great passage of play. Ryan Houlihan could have had a shot on goal. Unselfishly tried to get it to Prendergast, but just as good. Nathan Brown, last line of defence, affected the spoil. Great passage of play.
The old 1%ers coming to the fore this afternoon as Johnston goes short. This is Carroll. A late call up for Bizzle. He was scheduled to play his 50th game for Melbourne today. Uze again, he's up to double figures now. Rivers also a standout. Kick will drop short. Well read by Teague. Now we await Lappin.
Still mate.
To half forward for Houlihan. Off hands Davies or Prendergast. Uze happy for the boundary line.
He's just had a complete change in fortunes, Adam Uze, since he just pushed behind the ball, running off half back. He's really been released. He's still getting tagged, but he's finding so much more of the ball.
Demons by 4 goals.
Oh, at the back.
White to Rivers to Travis Johnston. How did he find all that space? And now, speaking of space, look at Brown. He can go here. He can have as many bounces as he wants.
Neats.
He goes towards Neats now. He's got a couple back to beat, however. The fist from Whitnell. Holland, creative. Unsuccessful. Boundary throw.
Hey guys, all the footy. Good stuff.
Nearly a point, wasn't it?
Keep it up. It's good stuff.
Nearly a rainmaker.
4-goal umpires. Wayne Schwass, yes or no?
Yes.
Can't let him run it.
Jared?
Can I have eyes on it?
About 20 years too late if they bring them in.
Make sure there's no blocking. I'm watching it. Watching it. Make sure you go at
Lee
it.
Matthews will now be voting yes as well at the next coaches conference. Demons
Right,
deep in attack. Holland. Here's Bruce. Clever handball towards the hot spot. Robertson backed himself to take them on. Brown pursued by Walker. Green to the goal square. Didn't have the carry for Bruce. Gee, risky. Thornton. Well, Holland again trying a little bit of flair. Oh, left it behind for Neats. Neats dives on it. Has support. Bruce for Godfrey out of bounds.
Throw in. Done.
Another one here. And it would be a dominant opening term for the Demons. He wasn't watching the Premier League last night.
Too high now and kick.
Shot at goal for Holland coming up.
That's 50 metres.
And against Nick Stevens. 50 metres, certain goal. Sign of frustration from Stevens.
Well, just undisciplined. He should know better than that, but certainly set Ben Holland up for a cheapie.
Holland's got his second. Melbourne out by 5 goals.
Well, as far as the result is concerned, it's not over, Wayne, but if Melbourne kick another couple in a hurry, it's certainly going to look like it.
Well, is that technically correct but morally soft?
Well, the worrying sign, Jared, is the fact the Demons have gone inside their forward 50 17 times to 9. So it's a very good result. And with the weather closing in, you would think perhaps another couple of goals would be a handy margin.
French and White in the middle now. Neither of them convincing. Neither was that kick from Spawn. Whelan for Carroll. Yet to do anything wrong down back, although he set up Reid here. Houlihan the fly. Does well to keep it in beneath the Great Southern Stand. Well populated this afternoon. And now DeLuca.
Let him go out right there, mate.
Impressive, this kid.
Another one that was overlooked for a while. Played VFL
Still, mate.
footy last season. Camporelli to provide the spark. Favola for the finish. Under pressure. Across the face. Out of bounds.
Play on.
Demons waste no time. Rivers stops. Now to a one-on-one. And a good mark for Holland. Off to Uze. Possession number 11 as the kick got enough carry.
Play on.
Norman there to force the contest.
Easy, Carl.
Low ball towards centre half forward from Teague. DeLuca at ground level. Tied up.
So early in the piece, they've
Thanks, Adrian.
pushed Whitnell down to defence to pick up Holland. And it looks like it's DeLuca that's taking some rough duties and then pushing into that centre half forward position.
Shade over a minute remaining in the opening term here on Fox Footy. There's DeLuca.
Yours.
Oh, that looked all right. Favola needs a kind bounce. Doesn't get it. And the new general of the back line, General Rivers. White. 5-goal Melbourne lead inside of the final minute of the opening term. Searching for their 5th consecutive victory. Remember last year, For the entire year, they won just 5 games. Whelan waiting. Will go towards Uze or Rivers. Picks Rivers. And he's now up to double figures in possessions and has had 5 marks.
I think he knows the quarter is just about dead and they're just winding the clock down.
Rain falling as well, as if to amplify Carlton and Dennis Pagan's problems. Whelan goes short for Travis Johnston.
Right there, Hayes.
They can negotiate a settlement here and say that it's 6-3 to 1-3 at quarter time. Johnston happy to hang on.
Kick it now.
Just goes short for Reid, and that'll do us. Melbourne have come to play, 2 each to Holland and Bruce. Singles for Miller and Neitz. Houlihan, Carlton's lone goal kicker. Demons off to a fly.
Well, impressive start by the Demons, but Carlton, I'm sure Dennis Pagan wouldn't be too pleased with that. They've just been able to allow, or they've allowed the Demons to launch many attacks off their half-back line, and with players like Uze and Rivers getting 11 possessions respectively, Adam Uze especially setting up many forward thrusts, been very impressive.
Overall, they had 26 more touches. Their lead 30 points. Quarter time on Fox Footy.
Where Melbourne have got plenty of talent. Davey, Robertson, the general in Neitz, of course, Bruce and Ben Holland doing a good job.
Second term underway. Live and exclusive on Fox Footy. The Demons with a bit of a run about them, taking a 5-goal lead into the second term. Ward, a high one to half forward. Looking into the lights, which are on for the first time, was Bannister. Feeding it off for Teague.
Holding on behind play.
You heard the call, holding on behind play. A free kick going Andrew Walker's way.
I'd like to see Nick Stevens go on to Travis Johnson or one of Melbourne's freewheeling players, just to maybe try and get hold of the contest or the matchups again. They've got Godfrey, who's a darn hard player to get possessions on, just tracking Stevens everywhere.
Walker to a pack inside the 50. White climbing high, knocking it down to Heffernan, who's embraced. Will have a bounce.
Well, Jeff White's an interesting one, Wayne, because right from his very first year, he threatened to take the mark of the century, and yet still hasn't quite got there. But I think with his confidence growing, maybe this is the year.
Johnston just chips it short. Ward under pressure. Houlihan, the spoil. Ball will stay in. Wonderful pickup of the greasy Sherrin. Surveys his options, goes long and direct. 3-on-2 Melbourne, force it down. Whitnell goes without it. Johnson a chance on the left. Kicks to the goal square. Favola in a wrestle. Carroll tries the mark. Was there holding? Blues have got numbers. Favola still a chance. Goes off the ground. And just misses. Two behinds and one out of bounds. Brendan Favola's return up forward. Perhaps they could have done better with numbers there. Some good Dower Demon defence as Uze brings it back into play.
On now, Adam. Play on. You.
Gains another stack. Walker knocking it down. Whelan. Ward.
Simone, I've got it.
Brown. Rivers. Is knocking up the stats here. Heffernan.
See it right there, right there. Mark twice that. Back safe.
Carlton needs some urgency about their game to try and haul in this deficit.
I'm a great Heffernan fan, despite the fact that he's had just an average start to his career at Melbourne. I think with some patience from the supporters, he is going to deliver.
Climbed the mountain for Essendon back in 2000. Carlton with a mountain to climb here, but this is better. Walker with Stevens, with Camporelli, charging through the midfield, giving Favola a chance, one out, and he nearly had it, not quite. Nicholson there to provide the defensive pressure and help, and we'll have a bounce close to the Carlton goal.
I don't know about you, Jerry, but I think Brendan Favola's a much better player when he's on the lead rather than trying to outbody his direct opponent.
Looking at it.
And now Melbourne flood back number-wise. Godfrey. Stevens wasn't closing there. Wide kick, boundary throwing.
Right.
Not a lot of wool. It's non-existent at the moment for the Blues. Forward pressure.
There's a good matchup going on here. there's Davey. Well, his opponent Lappin's about 30 metres away, and every time Carlton get the footy, Lappin just charges up the ground. Lappin currently there, just coming on screen, and as soon as Carlton get the footy, he is going deep into their forward line, some 30 metres away from goal.
As a coach, do you like that?
Well, I think it's great for Carlton's sake. Now, Davey is going to get caught out if he just allows him to drive forward. He's done it 3 times now. I've been 100 metres away. Lappin hasn't got the footy, but it will happen. And so too can the turnover. If Melbourne quickly switch, then Lappin can get caught out. So it's a bit of Russian roulette.
Some holding on. Carlton will take this free kick.
Well, there. Give it to him.
Oh, Heffernan really testing the umpire's patience there as the ring-a-ring-a Rosie continues behind French, who kicks a wobbly one and not an effective one. Whelan takes the mark, the handball to Brown. Now Melbourne can go. Has Jeff White, gives it back to Brown. Steadies, has a bounce. Good carry of the footy. Well, the kick may have been intended for Neitz, didn't have enough on it. Teague is there to intercept. He's got loose men on the southern wing who spoil one another. Oh, Scotland knocked it away from Walker. Then they waited for a free. And now Melbourne can go. And Davey, will he say thank you from 45? Yes, he does! A calamitous mistake from the Blues. And the result is a Davey goal.
Well, that's a classic point in case Lappin, because he assumed that Carlton were going to get control of the footy. He had bolted up onto the other wing. Aaron Davey, he just goes where the footy goes. And you just can't believe that there'd be a turnover of that nature. I think calamitous was probably as good a word as any. And a couple of youngsters involved. Well, one youngster and one oldster.
Melbourne now have kicked the last 6 goals of the match. French going early. Scotland, Johnson. High one to the 50. DeLuca with courage, it back into the pack, nearly cleaned up by his teammate Prendergast. Becoming a common occurrence. Kicking in danger. It's the second time I've seen that called this weekend, and I think it's not bad to bring it back into play. Well, you don't see it often, but it can be dangerous. Blues will take it just a fraction beyond the 50, and DeLuca will have it. Here it is. That can test the fingers on a cold, wintry sort of afternoon. Again, Melbourne players get numbers back. There's 11 of them in the Carlton attacking 50. Now 12. The question, can Adrian DeLuca cover the journey here? He did a pre-season at Melbourne and Essendon. Spent last year in the VFL. Hooks the kick, getting the distance. It's a behind.
Well, late in the first quarter, I looked at the inside 50s. They were roughly 17-9. And Melbourne were dominating on the scoreboard. Right now, they're 19-17. So Carlton are certainly getting their share of possession now deep. They just haven't been able to translate it onto the scoreboard.
Uza goes short. Okay, Bruce. A couple of goals in the opening term. The run from Ward. Targets Robertson. Being well pursued by Teague today. Good spoil.
Aaron Davey again. He's 50 metres on his own because Lappin's gone looking for footy.
He's going to get it here. He's got the set. He waits down. Thompson had the fly. Still they go. Johnston, loose man. Bruce for goal number 3. Melbourne march on. The lead now 40 points.
Well, Jared, it's okay to go looking for the ball when your team's got the ascendancy, but right at the moment, the Demons comprehensively beating the Blues just about in all departments of the game, and you just can't afford to give a player who's already kicked 2 in the first quarter, Cameron Bruce, any space, but also Aaron Davey. That kick was directed to him, mightn't have got it, but Matthew Lappin probably would be better served right at the moment. Shut up shop, as would the other Carlton defenders. Make sure that they just turn this into a bun fight for the remainder of this second quarter.
This Melbourne team hot right now. They've won 14 of 17 quarters since the opening match of the year. And now they're in front in this one. Good tackle from behind DeLuca. Camporelli, the pressure on Whelan, but still Melbourne somehow scrounge up the footy. Uze's handball deflected and now intercepted by Davies. Towards half forward. DeLuca unable to pick it up on the half volley. Well, not the first time, nor the second in the end. Bannister. Melbourne tackling intense. Lappin peeling off again, backing himself. He's tripped.
Thank you, thanks. Right
There he is, 50 metres behind Lappin. It's Russian roulette at its best.
Carroll getting it out wide. Bruce, Johnston, Lappin suddenly darts back. Johnston, 2 bounces, 3 bounces, backed himself, delivers to Thompson. Wonderful kick. And an equally adept mark by Scott Thompson.
Well, it was a good driving run by Travis Johnson. He didn't go the incorrect option. That's the short and wide one to Aaron Davies, who was on his own. He just kept running. Watch him use his own teammate as a shepherd. Not that one there. He ran towards Heffernan knowing that he would put the block on. And then the long driving kick to Thompson, who just continues to get better. With every kilogram he's put on over summer, he's getting a great deal of return this year.
They've got a couple out of the SANFL. This is one such man who was at the Port Magpies. Now in his 4th year of league footy. And lining up for his opening goal. And Melbourne's 9th.
Well, he had an outstanding last quarter last week, Travis Johnson, against the Swans. Had something like 7 or 8 possessions and really got his side going in that last quarter when James McDonald went off. But if you're looking for reasons as to why I think Melbourne's improved, it's the fit bodies of players like Johnson, White, Uze and Wheatley, who's not out there this afternoon. But these players have got themselves fit and firing. They're important players. When they are fit out there with disposals like that and good use of the football, there's no wonder why this Melbourne side is playing very confident and exciting football.
Better run, Nate. Thanks, Cole.
The scoreline we weren't expecting, especially this early in the match. Here they go again. White to Godfrey. Thompson given a subtle nudge from Spawn. Carlton defence under siege. Thompson. Tight angle. Holland now a foot race with Norman. No whistle. Holland desperate. Norman's tied him up. Good tackle, a bounce.
And what's scary is that despite the fact that Melbourne are 8 goals in front, David Neitz has kicked just 1 goal. So I think where the Blues will be coming from right now, their supporters, they've been thrilled with the fight of their team. They understand it's going to take a long haul, but they've just wrapped that they've got a side that's been busting their gut and fighting out. And I think that's what they'll expect over this next half an hour.
Oh, look how quick. Davey closed on Lappin. Made him backpedal, switch around and find Nick Stevens. Has to be precise if you're going to go short in the defensive 50. Johnston there, Davey in the goal square. Johnson says, I'll go myself. And he misses to the right-hand side. And Aaron says, Travis, I was there. 47 points the difference. Lappin goes short. Risky to Johnson. Good mark. Not a good kick, though. Melbourne, they're queuing up. Ward. Uze. Can he swing onto the left? Ball didn't carry to him. Houlihan now. Oh. Gee, it's deferring the pressure. Lappin just tries to talk. Gets it to the centre square. Good work by French to knock it down. Godfrey says try and pluck this out of the sky. Robertson is there. We know he'll try. Houlihan. Bounce important. Prendergast. Oh, Brown didn't give an inch. Goes short. Lappin back there again. He and Davey playing miles apart. Free kick Carlton.
The last 5 minutes has been played in Melbourne's forward 50.
He hasn't played on.
They've got a team sensing the kill. Lappin getting a touch casual there. Prendergast just banging it away. Melbourne have got the wall set up. They are storming now. White, 55 out. Wanted to kick goals this year. Hasn't got one yet. Goes short to Godfrey. Well, he's not a goal kicker. And 52 metres out. We'll test him here.
This would be the worst 10 minutes Carlton's played this year, which is a real blow to Dennis Pagan and to all the players and the supporters, because with 2 wins out of 3, they had looked as if they perhaps turned the corner, but like I guess any mountain that you climb, sometimes it's 2 steps up and 1 down. Well, this last 10 minutes has been a big step backwards. Been just not competitive.
Godfrey. Well, that is out of bounds.
Brett Thornton's kick. Brett. Thanks, David. Out now, mate.
9-4 plays 1-5. Carlton struggling to get it midfield here. Again, it's to a contest. White over the top, man in front. No. White.
Well, it wasn't marking the century, but it was a reasonable mark.
He bangs it back to the hot spot at the top of the square. Oh, and there's a leap from Holland. And he'll line up and should kick his 3rd goal.
Well, you called it right before, David Neitz. That's the scary thing. He's only had 1 goal so far this afternoon, but there's some players out there that are really relishing the opportunity. Ben Holland's one, but Jeff White, he's been building over the last few weeks. Looks as though his confidence is building very rapidly.
Holland now to push the margin beyond half a century. Oh, don't tell me.
Well, he showed signs of doing this when he had that easy give me the other end. He just waltzed in as if it was a different sort of kick to a kick from 35 metres out. You still got to go back and drive through the ball.
Well, occasionally those little things come back to haunt you. Let's see what happens today. Walker. It would take something special. Good kick. Teague. Carlton have got to get it forward quickly, make it a 2-goal turnaround. Long ball to Favola. He's one out again. Ball knocked down. Where's the support? Whelan looking for the boundary line. Finds it. Will have a throw in. Margin 48 points. Leading possession winners, 4 of the top 5 Melbourne players, headed at the moment by Cameron Bruce.
Make sure I can run eyes on the ball. Eyes on the
15
ball.
possessions.
Let him run it. Let him run it.
Now, 2-on-2 in the ruck department there. Johnson with Luca will have a bounce. No, someone's pinned.
Got the kick.
Melbourne free.
There's 2 of you there, guys. 2 of you there. On top of it. Give it back, thanks. Waiting for you to get it out. Yeah, right out, thanks, right
Thompson,
out.
the recipient. There's Wheatley short, if he so chooses, just coming into screen. That's his only option.
See right there, play on. Come on.
Wheatley to the northern side. Rivers.
Play on, guys.
Nicholson in space. Had to wait. Got it on. Bit of run. Carroll. Ill-directed offhand. Still a chance. Robertson playing with an air of confidence, Melbourne. Godfrey tries to break free towards Neitz. Thornton the spoil. Melbourne still dangerous. Bruce to try and find an opening court. Johnston for Davey. He's exciting. He's exciting. Oh, boy! He might be the most exciting of all. Margin 54 points. Davey gets his 2nd. It's a beauty. It'll be on the winners tonight here on Fox Footy.
Well, there's not a lot this kid can't do at the moment. But look, there's just numbers, support. They're first in. Cameron Bruce, he's having some sort of game this afternoon. No pressure whatsoever, and that would be the most disappointing thing from Dennis Pagan's point of view. But look, the Demons have had an extra 41 possessions in comparison to Carlton at the moment, and that's equivalent to having an extra 2 or 3 players out on the ground.
We'll keep it on that angle for you watching us on Digital Sports Active on Fox Footy. You can choose your split screen, and we'll keep an eye on Davey and Lappin over the next few minutes. And in fact, the change has been made. It's now Teague on him, so we'll see how close Teague stays to him. And if you've got the Digital Sports Active coverage as Johnston goes towards Robertson. Good ground late made by Wiggins. Houlihan, who will spark a shell-shocked Carlton. Walker, maybe this man. Down to Prendergast. Been a while since Carlton's only goal. Upwards of 40 minutes of playing time. White for Godfrey.
He's a different athlete now, Jeff White, just looking balanced and comfortable. Got half a dozen good games under his belt. Looking like a comfortable ruckman and top player.
Wheatley to Holland. Well, he might be more confident kicking from here, perhaps. Gives it towards Neitz. It's an ugly floater. Stevens with the hand to it. Houlihan does well. There's Stevens. Now he's got Johnson, and now Carlton can go down this northern wing. 54 points behind. Johnson to Favola. That's better. His man went down. He's invited to play on. High one to the pocket. No one home. Rivers reading it well. Brings it in for Carroll. 6.5 minutes remaining of what has been an eminently forgettable quarter for Carlton, and now Carroll as he kicks it nearly into the construction site.
Max back here, right back here.
Jordan Bannister will take the free. Going to bomb it long and direct. Prendergast, Morrell flying. Walker waiting down with Uze. Boundary throwing.
Just on Jeff White, Jared, I think sometimes he's been criticised for only working around the centre square, but you just see he's hungry for the ball. He's pushing deep in defence, but he's also making plenty of options up and around the ground and heading into the forward 50.
He's a different footballer this year. Helps when you're not running around with a 6-inch gash in your shin. Decidedly uncomfortable, you'd reckon.
Prendergast fending off Uze illegally, gives away a free. Uze hits Thompson, dances by Favola, gives it off to Johnston. Possession number 16, a kick towards midfield. Davey closing, but not fast enough. Spawn, but Lappin still running. Kick to Walker was a good one. Now the second gamer. 26 possessions last week. He's going to be Carlton's second leading ball winner here with 10. 1 AW, Jared.
Well, he certainly was last week. Number 1, Andrew Walker.
Kick a fraction wide here, and it's out of bounds on the full. Well, last week at half-time, the Blues had kept the Eagles to just 4 behinds. Here, closing in on half-time, 1 goal, 5 themselves. Adamuze pondering. Rain closing in. Tiff awfully quiet. I think she's off getting a coffee.
Yours. The footy.
Big fly from Thompson at the back. Walker. Stevens now under pressure. Kick lands in the field of play, but Thompson again with White. Wheatley gets by the lunging Walker towards the wing. Now a fair shove on Robertson. No whistle. Spawn under pressure is done. Got the handball from McCormick. Will have a bounce.
Right, Ted. Straight into it. Straight into the tackle. Thanks.
65 plays 11. A staggering margin in favour of the Demons. Heffernan. Now Johnston. Seemingly with all of the time in the world.
This is a practice match at the moment. Melbourne are practicing.
Teague just banging it away, hoping that someone could take a hanger. And 1AW got up there. And here he is at ground level as well. Going to Favola. Kick too much carry. At the back, Uze. Prendergast has given away another free on him.
Back here, thanks, back here.
Uze goes short. Wheatley. Now the run. Penetrating kick towards Bruce at centre half forward. Davey waiting down. Lappin the fly. Nick Stevens, the little soccer out wide. Houlihan caught high. 4 minutes from half time, and now the rain is coming in.
So White, stand them up there.
The tackle just sliding high on Houlihan. Towards half forward. Norman just trying to punch it away. In fact, Lappin with him. Here's Davey again. Sold the dummy beautifully. Delivers to Robertson. Oh, for our next party trick. That wasn't it. Green might make it look okay. He's on the run from 50. He kicks a floater. And even the floaters today are going through for Melbourne. They lead by.
He's one of the few Melbourne players who have struggled a bit today. Swatter, he's just been a contributor. Russell Robinson also struggling a little bit. Poor kick, but the level of resistance here is abysmal from Carlton. And as you said, Clinton, even the mongrels are going through.
It's a grand old flag again. Tiff, we've got your back.
Yes, you certainly do, and the signs are not looking too good. I'm looking over at the city, and it is covered in rain, and it is certainly raining down here. Thanks very much.
Nearly half-time. 3 minutes from it. Time for more for the Demons, perhaps. It's becoming a parade. Wheatley over the head of Whelan. Desperation from Stevens. They'll need to show plenty of that in the second half, the Blues, to try and turn this around.
Well, perhaps a good starting point might be to put some physical pressure on your opponent. They've just got to lock it up, Blues. They'll go in at half-time. That probably can't come quick enough for them at the moment.
DeLuca. Now Heffernan is tied up. Overall possession count, 178 touches for Melbourne, 129 for Carlton.
Just an impressive outfit now, Melbourne. So much run, good structure up forward, good structure in defence. They're going to go a long way this season if they can just keep themselves uninjured.
Uze for Reid. And that was against everyone's expectations at the start of the year, and after round one, when again they were calling for Neil Danaher's head, Godfrey backed himself, didn't see Bannister closing, and he wins the free kick for a good tackle.
Yeah, good chase of Jordan Bannister. He's been a contributor.
Another look.
Great chase.
Carlton with a goalless quarter here, just 2 behind their return, with down to 2 minutes remaining. Camporelli goes long. Favola had to go the punch. Still a chance, Lappin. Favola, here's a go. Favola lines it up. Thank you. Fair to say no histrionics following the celebrations, and rightly so. But they've got to peg them back slowly, and they've started there. A good finish.
Well, they'll certainly need more of that. Brendan Favola is one of those players that can provide the spark for the Blues. Similar to last week, didn't get off to a good start. Spent some time on the bench, got themselves going. Good play there, got himself involved, spoiled. Matthew Lappin, he's worked hard. But that's an important goal going into half-time, Jared.
Well, it is. I mean, I think most people in their hearts, particularly the Carlton players, that know that this game is gone. It would take one ordinary, extraordinary comeback if they were to pinch this game. It just doesn't look evident at the moment.
Well, they might get 2 in a row. Prendergast from 50 goes long, hooks the kick out of bounds on the full.
What do you make of Dick Mimorel, Jared?
Well, he hasn't had a stat yet. He's just battling away. He may well be taken off the ground. But he's still out there. He's had the full half. The ball just hasn't been up there with any great conviction, though. It's pretty hard to be too critical of the forwards.
Godfrey getting space on this northern wing again. Robertson the target over his head. Important ball here. Green kept his feet. Now, can he finish the deal? You bet.
Rhetorical question.
His second. Demons back by 10 goals with a minute remaining from half-time.
It is one of the great challenges for all individuals in ordinary sides, and you play footy long enough, you're going to be in an ordinary team at some stage, you would think, unless you're really lucky, probably a bit like you, Swatter. But it's difficult to go in at halftime knowing that the game is gone. You've just got to dig deep and find some way to get a positive out of this. Melbourne, on the other hand, you'll like this, Clinton, because the masochists in the Melbourne crowd will remember so many beltings that Carlton have given Melbourne over the years, and well, there'll be an opportunity to right the wrongs of the 80s and the 90s to some degree.
18 years ago, they beat them by 116 points, which some Demon fans still do remember. Final minute, Carlton away though. Johnson, long, Favola the target. Norman up forward as well, overruns it. Oh, Uze with one glove. Towards Ward and Wiggins. Wiggins does well. Whelan good pressure. Wiggins still hanging on to it. Got to try and get it out because time's on the wing here. Half a minute remaining. Stay with us during the halftime break if you have missed anything from the last 2 days of football, and they have been some great games, haven't they? Total margin 23 points from the 5 completed matches. Jared and I will have all of the highlights and talking points for you in our Fox Footy halftime program here from the MCG. That should be the final scoreline for halftime as McCormick ponders the situation on the bench. It's a 10-goal Melbourne lead at halftime. They're not singing yet, but they're well on their way. Wayne Schwass, how good a half was that from the Demons? As feelings just get a little bit high here. Carlton frustrated by what's going on, no doubt.
Well, we believe the initiators were Reid and Scotland. Phil Reid's often in these little dust-ups. He's a cantankerous little fellow, but I reckon Dennis Pagan to be saying him, and you know him better than anybody, Wayne, that we don't want to see this nonsense at half-time. I want to see you put your head over the ball and start winning some footy when it counts.
He would be absolutely livid. I think that insipid would be a word that he would use in there. And look, they've really, in this 60 minutes of football, they've undone some tremendous work that they've done over the last couple of weeks. They were terrific last week in similar conditions where they comprehensively beat the Eagles, playing a very committed and hard brand of football. That's been non-existent this afternoon. I suppose the beauty of this,
and that's
as that supporters trying to rev their teammates up or their team up, is just get in there and have a go, boys. That's all we can ask. The game might be over, but give it your best.
Well, those supporters certainly are. Stay with us. A lot to talk about from the weekend. We'll do it on the other side of the break. The Blues with some work to do. 10 goals, the margin at half-time. 12-5 to 2-5. Our scoreline. Demons to the city end, the right of screen. Carlton to the punt road end to the left in this third term. And neither ruckman can take it convincingly, but the second half starts as the first one ended. Travis Johnston getting the clearance for the Demons. Davey lurking. Tied up by Bannister and Norman a bounce. Too high, in fact, too high. A free kick going Davey's way. Well, umpire adamant there, and Aaron Davey will now line up for goal number 3.
Way too high. Right there.
As good as directly in front. Just the 4 kicks so far. But importantly, the 2 goals straight. He's kicked 9 goals, 12 for the season. And this would be a heartbreaking start for the Blues. Davey hitting the post. Let's check in boundary side with Tiff.
You were right. Carlton's bench has been reduced to 3. Trent Spawn has injured his foot. Doesn't look like he's going to come back on. No injury concerns for Melbourne. However, they're looking good.
No concerns whatsoever at the moment. Thanks, Tiff. Houlihan gaining a few metres. Kicking to Walker with some work to do against a couple. Robertson the pickup. Well, Bruce under pressure. French the spoil. Johnson runs onto it. Prendergast can lay it off. Camporelli running. Backs himself. Kicking long. All Melbourne. Nicholson the mark. Rivers. Elects to go short to centre half back for Godfrey. He's got White running to the wing to his right. Oh, he was nearly off. Now he goes to White. Gee, that's not a good disposal. White elects to keep it in. Well, with the boundary umpire so far away, he would have needed binoculars. Godfrey to Green. Heffernan. Sense of it remaining a training drill continues. White. Wheatley. 61 points the Demon lead. Their all-time best ever win against Carlton, 81 points. I wasn't there. I was at this ground, 1897. Heffernan goes short. Robertson. We might get KB and Bobby Davis to talk about it on Grumpy Old Men Wednesday. Robertson going long. Coming out Bruce. Strong hands. And he's going to line up for his 4th goal. Nothing's changed, Wayne.
No, nothing's changed. Might have got fractionally worse for Carlton if it possibly could, but that's a terrific strong mark by Cameron Bruce. Already has 3 for the afternoon. And I suppose that's the luxury. The performance of this side. He has been rotating through the midfield, but he's played predominantly so far up forward.
You're right behind the kick. And it's right through the middle. Bruce, 4 goals.
Well, it was a pretty average build-up. Melbourne just sneaking the ball forward, doing their best to avoid the witches' hats that are starting to grow out there at this present stage. Just take us through those figures. Though, was it
1897 round 5. Melbourne won 107 to 26.
The margin?
81 points.
That's certainly within reach.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. 67 right now. Neil looking excited. The Reverend. Very demure. White, Thompson. Again they go forward. Robertson leaping, going too far underneath it. Davey lurking here. Now tackling Bannister, takes them on. Wiggins forcing it out. Houlihan. Back to Wiggins. Melbourne's tackling intense here. They won't let them go. We'll have a bounce.
Melbourne have got a sniff here, Wayne. They can feel a huge victory, I reckon. They are just... I reckon they've got records in their sides. They won't know what the record is. They weren't around either then, but...
Johnson working it wide. Bruce trying to keep it in as Carl Norman. Bangs boot the ball quickly. Now that's off Carroll out on the full. Favola will take the free. Well, Favola's cleverly peeled off there and to run forward. So Camporelli will take the free.
Had to feel for Dennis Pagan and Steve Kernahan when they were walking around the boundary line at half-time. They were as shocked as anybody.
Yeah.
Disappointed, I think, that the boys turned up and produced this sort of lone performance.
Carroll for Heffernan. Through the wing. Now he's targeted the space where he wanted Robertson to run to. Thornton was waiting there. Bannister throws it out. And called.
Jack Davey
Can line up for goal number 3 or play on. Green, silky skills. Brett Green goes for it. Hooks the kick behind.
And just getting back to Dennis Pagan in his match committee, he would have come here with a fair amount of confidence after last week's performance, Jared.
Yeah. Well, last week, oh, that is a good little gift. Last week they knocked off one of the best midfields in the game.
Let him go.
And this week they have just been completely obliterated by a very good team.
Walker's 13th possession off to Teague. Oh, big fly, Whelan. Going through Lappin went without it. Whelan, Robertson. Look at them queue up now. Thompson. Will he think about a shot at goal? Loads it up from 55. All the way to the square. Bruce takes the mark. Will turn around and kick his 5th goal. The onslaught continues.
Well, here's the class of the Melbourne forward line. They've got the brute strength of Neitz. They've got the workman-like abilities of Ben Holland, but he just gives the genuine polish. The excitement, of course, is provided by Aaron Davey, the youngster. And, well, Brad Miller is just another kid that's working his way into some good form. He's just dropped out, but you throw him and Green up there into that forward line. Polish on either side of the body. And the beauty of Cameron Bruce is he can play at centre-half back just as efficiently.
Up to 14 goals for the season now. And that margin is staggering 74 points. Thompson. They're dominating the clearances. Godfrey for Ward. He'll go long and direct towards the hot spot. Norman reading it well. Good mark. Who will stand up here for the Blues? Kick doesn't have the carry on it for Walker. Did well to push Ward out of the way. French. Towards half forward to Luca. Carroll under pressure. Holding it in. We'll get a bounce.
Yeah, no chance.
McLaren, Ralston and Hendry, the men in orange today. Favola over the top. Johnson to the pocket. Here's a chance. Prendergast. Oh, it's not their day. Wheatley the tackle. Davies putting his body on the line. Prendergast may be hurt. Wiggins for Camporelli. He just tries to fling it out. Melbourne might end up winning the footy here. Heffernan. Ball stolen by Wiggins. Tied in close for the time being as Prendergast, well, nursing a heavy knock, will have a bounce. Another look at it.
Yeah, thanks.
I think he might have copped the shin in the eye on the way through, but Matthew Whelan, he just continues to improve as a player. Tough, rugged, small offender.
Now McCormick waiting back there as you're going to bomb it towards Favola. The wall, though, was set up. And Ward is there. Has to be careful with that. 74 points. He's invited to play on. Obliges eventually. Gets bumped by Favola, so the kick is errant. Wiggins has got it, can go to Favola. No, turns him down. Just chips it for Camporelli. Plays on, goes towards full forward. Where are the Flyers? Prendergast there. Crummer's now needed. All Melbourne Uze. Takes a while. The bounce of the ball, though, going the Demons' way. Warden, Godfrey combined. Loose man in the middle is Green. Under some pressure now. Backs himself. Brad Green could go all the way. Goes for home. Another one. Avalanche, onslaught, landslide, take your pick. Margin 80.
There's a fair bit left in the tank for the Demons too, Jared. They're full of running. Confident side, there's no pressure out there whatsoever. Players are just queuing up now. This is a great turn of speed here by Brad Green. Got away from Bowyer, backed himself in, got him inside kicking range. Terrific finish. They are enjoying themselves.
All started down the other end of the ground, though, where Alistair Nicholson stuck his big frame in, and what a turnaround he's had this season. There were calls for him on Talkback Radio after round one to be perhaps politely shown the door, but he's really been one of their better players since then.
The callers to you on Sports Today are not known for their patience, Jared, are they?
No, they like a bit of instant gratification. But look, there's 10 players out in this ground at the moment for Carlton that haven't had a possession in this half.
Goodness.
Sorry, in this quarter.
Walker. He's been all right. Finds DeLuca here.
Look, there's some positives for Carlton. They're just having a dreadful day, but well, Carl Norman has shown some really good things this year. So has Andrew Walker in the last couple. DeLuca's a positive, but you know, their senior players are the ones that really haven't been the glue today. They haven't kept it together, and to credit to Melbourne, they've made them come unstuck very rapidly.
The Demons, if things go their way, could finish this round as high as second on the ladder. We would have thought that after round one. More than likely they'll be in the top four regardless. Houlihan, good pickup. 12 minutes to play. Carlton trying to find a score in this third quarter. Wiggins seeing a bit of the footy in this third term. Favola on the lead.
That's a good lead. What a mark too. They're tough to take when they're coming in that hard.
Less bouncing around on his toes. Favola goes to Prendergast and Scotland. Scotland at the back, unable to control it. Walker working with him, gives the handball to Prendergast. Here's one AW now, kicking towards full forward as a touch ball for Lappin. Oh, he hooks it around his shoulder. That won't travel 15. DeLuca the big fly. Lappin another go. Good handball. Here's a goal coming up. Oh no! When things are glum, there's worse to come. And Scotland's kick dribbles into the post.
At least it was a determined passage of play with a little bit of purpose and intensity.
Oh, here's trouble now. Carroll finds Holland in space. Got a lead on, albeit very wide, from Thompson.
Well, Jeff White has run 150 metres to get a chance, and he's going to get it.
Thompson to the half volley. The big man, don't tell me, Jeff White! Oh, boy! You know it's your day now. First goal of the season for Jeff White. Hey, Jeff, you won't get one better than that. Margin now 85 points, and the guys of 1897 are getting concerned.
Well, you enjoy days when they happen like this. They don't happen that often in today's football, but for the Demons, Jeff White, no pressure, had plenty of time. Normally you'd see a player like that angle centre it, but why not, Jeff? Two-arm salute. I'm happy, we're happy. Everybody's having a good old time.
And you compare that with Scotland from 60 seconds earlier.
No justice, Clinton.
Oh, no. Whew. Oh, look at that. That's Luke Darcy-like from yesterday. Here's Davey going on with it. Just slapping it forward. Keeping his feet. Now he's bumped off it by Houlihan. Is it a throw? No. Bit of benevolence from the umpire, and why not, given the state of the scoreline. Teague towards Favola. Good deal this with Carroll. Nearly a hole. Favola put the hand in the air pleading for it. Still they run. Now there's a free. Melbourne's way. And Favola is one unhappy young man. Another look at it as Melbourne go forward. Ward's kick deep to the hot spot. Fly Robertson. Well, that would be the exclamation point on the afternoon, and you almost sense as though something's coming up for Robbo.
Well, David Neitz, you've got to feel sorry for David Neitz. Here he is, trying to be the first man in the history of this club to kick 100 goals. They are currently 14 goals in front, and he's just had one miserable crack at it. He can't believe his bad luck.
He could be dragged. Jeff White's having a rest. Whitnell getting it down. There's a free kick. Yeah, Neitzy's stats today: 1 kick, 1 handball.
Well, there's been so little pressure through the middle of the ground that the boys have just been kicking it straight over his head.
McCormick gone. Play on the call. DeLuca, likewise, boundary throw. Johnston, Bruce, White, Uze, the leading ball winners.
And the percentage that Melbourne are gaining out of this, it just could be vital at the end of the season.
Their percentage entering the game, 118.8. So already pretty impressive. And just adding to it. Heffernan to the goal square. Nita, here's your chance.
Free kick.
Oh, he's got a free kick. He's going to have his second kick, and he'll kick his second goal. Both players looking at the umpire. Just wondering which way will he point.
Well, it was unfortunate for Brett Thornton because he has had a very big game.
Come here, come on, it's on the mark. Don't give away anything silly.
Very big game given the amount of disposal that the midfield's had. He's really been right next to David Neitz and had him in check.
Right there, David and Ryan. Thanks, boys.
And now the skipper for his 26th goal of the season.
All clear.
This unbelievable afternoon continues. 91 points the margin.
Well, it's bordering on embarrassing for the Blues at the moment. Yeah, well, could have gone either way, but that's the way they normally play it. But such has been the dominance of the Demons side. They've had 60 more possessions, 62 more possessions. That's equivalent to having 4 to 5 extra players out in the field.
Which is what you said the Bombers had against your Swans yesterday. Stevens with the clearance. Whitnell dives. Can't take the mark. Rivers the clearance. And now Melbourne. Johnston for Heffernan. Those Carlton tackles not sticking. Suddenly a sunburst across the ground as Carroll kicks near the boundary line. Johnston and Johnson without the T. Wiggins. Bannister for McCormick. Long to Favola and Nicholson now. Nicholson the spoil. This is Carroll. Oh, Favola and Camporelli going in hard. Favola, something out of nothing towards the square. Chance for the Blues. Melbourne happy with the behind.
All clear. Still right in the middle, Hendo.
Well, 1AW is still doing it. He's got 15 possessions. That's a darn good effort for a kid. Second match, getting belted, and yet he's still getting the footy.
Because there were concerns that he wouldn't be able to back up after his big match last week. But he's doing all right. Needs some support, though. Speaking of which, Melbourne has plenty. Oh, what a wonderful kick. Ward to Miller. Waiting in space was Robertson. He just turns around, kicks it goal, but hooks it.
We haven't got the point, all clear.
Just hasn't been able to kickstart his season yet, Russell Robertson. He's a fine talent, won a BNF last year for the Demons. But this year he's not so much the focal point. Brad Miller has taken that role, and he's just taking some time to settle into being a lieutenant rather than the general.
To back you up on that, he's kicked just 1 goal for the year.
Yeah,
and he's only missed 1 game through suspension. He's been there every week aside from that. Carlton this term with 2 behinds. Melbourne with 5 goals, 3. 8 minutes remaining. Scott McLaren wants to get on with it. Nicholson over the top. Johnson. Stevens trying to get a spark towards Favola. 1 out again. Carroll the spoil. Rivers with support. Favola some work to do. Needs help. Camporelli with Whelan pursuing him. Desperate still. Stevens. Camporelli a chance. Now he's got Favola in space. Couldn't get the handball to him. Wheatley picked the pocket. Affects the switch brilliantly for Ward. Space on the southern wing. Bereft of support. Now waits. Green provides it. Might give it back to Ward. No elects to kick long and direct. Bruce coming out.
Well done.
Good work, Teague, backing back into the pack. And his fist finds the boundary line, albeit closer to the Melbourne goal than they would have preferred.
The marks inside 50 are interesting, and but not surprising too much. 11-2 in favour of Melbourne, obviously inside 50.
Holland and French to contest here, deep in the Demon attacking zone.
Get him up, get him up. Play on.
From the wrestle, Holland emerges. Kick smothered. Back near the line, McCormick. Holland will have another boundary throw-in.
I'd just like to see the umpires pay a free kick there. I just think it's an ugly passage of play when the ruckman at a around the ground throw-in or a ball up, grab onto each other, give them some space. If they're holding on, pay a free kick, they'll soon stop it.
Lurking dangerously. Waiting the crumbs, Bruce, Robertson, Godfrey. French tried to go himself. Here's Bruce. Houlihan, good tackle, rewarded. Free kick. 110 plays 19 here on Fox Footy. Our Sunday match next week. Sunday night football on Fox Footy from 5, the Hawks and the Cats. McCormick to centre half forward. Uze read it well, lost his footing. Scotland bouncing up on the 50, hurries a kick forward, and it's been read very well by Rivers, who must be close to the votes today. 9 marks, now 18 touches. Wheatley with Reid riding shotgun for him. Kicks to half forward on a long lead, Bruce. Bannister closing. Boundary line wins.
They're going behind you. They're going behind you. You go to the inside.
They've certainly run into some confidence, the Demons, Clinton, and it's just coming out of their defensive end far too easy. There's no forward pressure from Carlton whatsoever, which is making it very difficult and an uncomfortable afternoon so far for the Carlton defenders themselves.
French and Holland doing the ruck work in the Melbourne forward 50. French getting it down. Ball squirts out. Reid tackled by McCormick. Got the handball away. Wiggins just bangs it forward. DeLuca wins a free kick. Nicholson getting in his back. Oh, risky one though for Houlihan. Rivers, mark number 10 to Davey, and away he goes. 2 bounces. Elects to go short unselfishly, and now Russell Robertson can have a shot at goal to try and kick his second for the year.
Long man Rivers, he just reads the ball like he's got 200 games under his belt. He reminds me of, you know, David Dench, who is always in the right spot. He doesn't do the driving runs of a David Dench, but just always in the right spot.
And now Robertson pondering. As Jared said, the best and fairest last year. Didn't miss a match, kicked 41 goals.
Hold it there, Taggy.
And now looking for his first this afternoon. Looks pretty good. Demons march on. 6 goals to none this quarter. Aaron Davey with a pat on the back, and I reckon Russell Robertson reciprocating there by saying thanks, mate.
Well, every time you see Aaron Davey, you pose the question of how did a player of this calibre go through or get underneath the guard of so many football people in the know-how. But as you said, Jared, a lot of balance, a lot of poise for a kid of such an early age as Aaron Davey, and good delivery, good finish.
I reckon it's a credit to the footy club. Melbourne Footy Club have gone where a lot of people didn't go. They took a punt on him for some reason. Others elected to ignore his obvious potential, and they've made him feel comfortable. They've made him feel a part of this club, and he is delivering in bucket loads.
The margin 97 points. I'll have to get Graham Bond or Kevin Taylor to tell us the last time we had a 100-figure margin in the 3rd quarter. Here's Davey again. Away they go through Ward. Long towards the top of the square. Bruce reading it well. Waiting down Neats. Collision course with Wiggins, who does well. Took the footy. They must get rid of it. Thornton. Now Prendergast. Morrell having a quiet day. There's a man on short on the northern wing. That's Scotland.
That was Morrell's first possession.
Very quiet day. Where's Scotland going with that? DeLuca. Laying it back. Prendergast. Hoping for Vola can beat 3. Nearly for Carlton, but not quite. And the end result will have a bounce.
They haven't done themselves too many favours, the Blues, and Brendan Favola. He's had a dirty afternoon with the rest of his teammates, but their delivery into the forward 50 for Carlton has been disappointing at best.
Goal square unguarded here if they can get boot the ball quickly. That was ambitious. Here's Bowyer, the former Hawk.
Wait for the call. Play on, Nick,
Waiting. Driving long. Target to Luca. Too much carry on the kick. Whitnell waiting down. Armstrong pursuing him, bounces off. Big red Whitnell goes for it. Great goal, Lance. Carlton get their first for the quarter. They've averaged 1 per quarter today. Whitnell gets his first.
Well, it's a special goal, and that's why I think that he's more value up the forward line for Carlton. It's taken 2.5 quarters for Lance to go to. Actually, he might have started the third quarter in defence, but it didn't take too long for him to go up forward. But this is his value. Much has been said about his fitness. Takes a quality player to be able to find himself into some space like that with some pressure and finish like that. Well done, Lance.
Time to set a new target. Try to win the match from here for the Blues. 91 points adrift. Their percentage will be taking a frightful hammering. Miller and Johnson. Now Reid shoveling it forward. McCormick of Carlton slips. Does well to bob up. Hurry it towards Scotland. Wheatley to spoil. Oh, well waiting. Down was Whelan. Ward under pressure from Walker. Back for Wheatley, who's got space. Walker closing. Nice little sidestep from Wheatley. Took his time. Robertson had it knocked away. Green on the wing. Handball straight to Stevens of Carlton. Blues away quickly. His kick ill-directed.
Right there, Adrian.
Nicholson, point of the square half-back, can go short.
She puts it into the hands of the bloke who'll put it in the goal square almost.
Look at that kick. 65 metres to Holland. At the back, Neitz. Holland still. Davey lurking. Uze will want to go on the left. Has to go on the right. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Left or right. Adam Uze having a field day. Kicks another one. The margin back out to 97 points.
Look at this. It's the value of the long driving ball in, and you get a contest there. Miller a little bit, sorry, it was Holland a little bit stiff not to get a free kick, but he got it out and he just lost, looked like Davey or Houlihan in the goal square. And that margin, once again, almost tops the 100 points. And I think most Carlton supporters will go home just shell-shocked at this, because after the recruiting drive over summer and the early season form, I think they would have believed that the worst of last year was beyond them, and yet 124 points was a new record losing margin by the Blues, and it was set last year. They're only 24 points or 26 points away from that at the moment.
And the way Melbourne are running and taking the footy, you'd back them to win the game by 4 goals from here. Near the boundary line, Robertson.
Push in the back.
In the back, wins a free. Armstrong not going on with it, so it will be Russell Robertson's ball. Inside of 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Fox Footy with you on this Sunday afternoon, and we picked a doozy. We had 3 1-pointers this weekend, guys. 2 10-pointers. Got 97. We're making up for it.
Well, Rick McKenna passed on the duties for you to pick the game of the round.
Holland, it's still entertaining nonetheless. Holland goes wide, not a good one for Neitz. Stevens slaps it over for a boundary throw-in.
Well, right now, Dennis Baker will be looking for motivation, and that margin of 124 points. I mean, you don't want to plant the seed, but I can remember Ron Barassi saying when he was flogged by as coach of Victoria, he sent the message out, do not get beaten by 100 points, and it was by WA. I think it was the very first State of Origin match.
At Subiaco?
At Subiaco.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got to have some little thing to grab hold of, just to inspire you, just to motivate you to some degree.
Davies gets by the lunging Uze.
I got it.
And Wheatley read that well. He's really come into the game. And that was a good one for Whelan. Loose men again. Again, it's Green. He's usually a good disposer of the footy. Davey makes him work this time. He's got to get around Lappin. It's a good contest. Lappin goes to ground. Davey again somehow keeps his feet. Look at that. It was brilliant. Godfrey on the left. Clever centering ball. Robertson this time, perhaps. Nearly. Not quite. We'll have a bounce. No, we'll have a rush behind. Robertson wanting a free kick.
There's so many bodies, mate. Yeah, look.
And the apology for Russell Robertson, so many bodies, as we have a look at Davey, like Wayne Schwass in his prime.
I was never that good.
Morrell towards the wing. Nicholson pushed out it by DeLuca. 40 seconds to go. Carlton with just one goal in each quarter. DeLuca to Whitnell. Can kick his second, and the team's second for the term. Should go back and have a shot. No need to pass it off.
Yep, right here, mate.
Another look at Robertson. They got the apology from the ump. Don't think the free was probably there. He'll be content with the situation on the scoreline as we close in on three-quarter time.
Well, Adrian DeLuca has been one of the shining lights for Carlton. He's had a pretty good rise or introductory into AFL football. 14 possessions, 4 marks for the afternoon, setting up Lance Whitnell.
Final act of the third stanza is a Carlton goal. Right on the three-quarter time siren, Whitnell gets his second, so Carlton do provide 2 goals in that second quarter. But all it does is relegate the margin to 92 points. And, well, it'll be a tough walk here for Dennis Pagan down to address the troops. If you're watching via Digital Sports Active, you can watch it right now. Neil Danaher comes out happy. Final quarter, stay with us, coming up next on Fox Footy.
You've got something more interesting to talk about than Jonesy had there.
Yeah, footy. And we don't mind who's the ABA head. McCormick tied up, will have a second bounce. 123 place, 31. We did not see this coming. Remembering the record winning margin, Melbourne versus Carlton, 81 points, set back in 1897. Their highest ever score against the Blues, 155 at Optus 13 years ago. So there's a few targets there. Carlton the target to try and restore some pride in the jumper here. Wheatley. Thompson. Made Johnston work. He's equal to it. What's the finish like? Oh, it's superb. Showing us why they made him number 1 back in the 97 draft. Reed deep. Robertson wants to take a hanger. Davies special again. Short. Needs tied up. And he dragged it in, but given some leniency from Colin Ralston, will have a bounce.
Phil Reed's been a handy pickup. He's currently running around with Nick Stevens, but he's just got that bit of extra body. I remember last year, people were talking about McCrory, the loss of Woden through the middle because of the lack of muscle. But Thompson's come through, and Phil Reed's come through, and Ben Holland has come through with a free kick.
Houlihan ping there.
Let's see if he learns from his poke of 2 quarters ago.
That's it, right out with it. Come round. Right out, all players.
He kicked
right out,
2 goals in the opening term.
Right out.
And you had the microscope on Jade Rawlings in Canberra yesterday, Jared, and he had a good one.
He did. He certainly kicked truly through the ball, much differently to a couple of other times. He's poked at the footy and dropped the weight back and spun it off the foot rather than kicking through it.
Good finish for Ben Holland. He's got 3.
Well, he's been a handy inclusion, Ben Holland. You'll see here a free kick. Oh, I think Adam Houlihan might have had too much of a prior opportunity in that free kick, but a good finish. And must have heeded your advice, Jared, and kicked through the ball.
Well, I reckon about 200 people would have told him at half-time.
And there's the line-up, the Demons forward line, all lining up in a straight line, heading towards the centre. Once play resumes, there's space either side, depending on which way the ball will come out.
Good point. Thompson wide. Now they'll run into that gap, albeit Carlton might get there first. Bouncing ball for Houlihan for Lappin. Just caresses it onto Johnson, who dives and takes the mark.
I'm not sure if Aaron Davies under instruction to just stay put in the 50, but it was his man Houlihan that ran to that footy. Gave Carlton the extra number there, which helped them clear. Houlihan worked back well now onto Davey, and he's developing as a player.
129 playing 31. Demons
Right the footy.
to win their 5th match in a row and their 5th straight against Carlton. And Jeff White's good form continuing. Mentioned he had 34 hitouts last week. He's not going to get to that category today. He's got 15 at the moment, but he is the leader on the ground. Heffernan now just slaps it onto Uze. Did well, had to hold off his man to wait for Uze to come to him. White hurries one on the left. The bounce of the ball important. Teague, Lappin, head over the footy.
Yours now, yours again.
Gets the handball to space. Whelan feels it. Goes short. Bruce charging out. He's been impressive up forward. White, Thompson. Robertson's
Yours.
hurt behind play. Just a shade groggy. Should be okay. Now Carlton on the counter punch. Walker. Towards Favola.
High on, off hand.
Now DeLuca. Bereft of options. Good kick for Camporelli. That's a highlight. Good vision from DeLuca and good skills from the first-year player to feed it to the acting skipper.
Been one of their better players, DeLuca. He's really working hard. He's only a young, inexperienced man. Came into the game late, but still relatively inexperienced. And Melbourne overusing the footy at one end gave them an opportunity, and DeLuca spotted up Camporelli.
And even on the disastrous day they've had, Campo wasn't going to miss that one. Robertson, no way was he going off. Biggest win in your career, Wayne? Do you remember it fondly?
Remember the biggest loss, Clinton?
Thompson. Ward, were you responsible?
In some small part, yes, I was.
Lappin towards DeLuca.
I remember playing a game, Clinton, in my 8th game of football for Melbourne out at Waverley, and Fitzroy kicked 30 goals, 30, and Melbourne kicked 8. And there was a bloke on the wing whose name escapes me at the moment. He kicked 8 goals from the wing. And
He wasn't your man.
No, he wasn't, but I got dropped anyway.
So you were responsible.
I was responsible.
Right there.
Definite. Wayne, it wasn't the same coach who's coaching Carlton today in your game, was it?
No, it was a gentleman before him. Dennis replaced him. 141 points against Adelaide.
Oh, that pre-season match. Yeah, significant repercussions. Robertson still trying to take a hanger.
The difficulty is, and I think we all remember it, is once you get to a flogging of this proportion, it really is, you know, it's a matter of survival. You're not thinking as a team. You don't work as a team. It's you're working individually out there. You've got your man to beat, and that's about all you can think about. And you can just see everything just spirals down from there.
Awkward bouncing ball. Favoured Holland. Stevens runs into Armstrong. Melbourne a chance. Needs. Trying to find an opening. Thornton, good tackle. Stevens for Johnson. Look out, dangerous. Oh, boy, that was spectacular from Lappin. And it's a mark to Scotland. Well, it was chaotic. Lappin's there trying to see how green is. Holland pushes him away. That's a cross between kicking in danger and some creative flair. Morrell will get a replay in a sec. Live action continues. Thornton, Morrell down the northern wing towards half forward. Well-weighted ball for Camporelli.
Right there. No more.
Green looks like he's all right.
Matthew Lappin did a 360 horizontal in the air.
Kicking the footy. Pack form. Top of the goal square for Carlton. Uze tackle. Johnston near the line. Shrugs off Walker. Keeps it in to a contest. Reed caught behind Johnson. Again a soccer off the ground attempt. Now they've got some space for the forwards to lead into. Thompson. Armstrong. Well weighted. Now Green. Wait for Neitz. Green to him. Neitz the mark. Oh, loose man in the goal square. Holland all by himself. Now Robertson in the end becomes open because his man peeled off. He was unable to hang on, so it all amounts to naught. Houlihan for Johnson. Now Lappin. Goes short, Wiggins. Waits. Kicks long towards the top of the square. Favola in a pack of several. Uze and Davies. Uze for Nicholson. Free kick advantage. Green on the southern wing.
Oh, Ben Holland is up 80 metres
Well, who
by
is
himself.
on Holland at the moment? For the second time, he's all by himself. Lappin closes late, did well. Melbourne, though, will still win the footy through Reid. Neitz and Robertson lead. The kick doesn't travel to either. That was clever in the end from Teague. The quickest way to get it out of the danger zone. French.
Right there, no more. Play on.
Margin. 92
Play on,
points.
half volley.
Whitnell. Stevens. Favola a chance. Too far underneath it. Davies caught. Rivers and Camporelli in the back. Melbourne free.
Well, that'll be reversed. That's pretty dumb play from
You'll lose it
Whitnell.
if you do anything silly, all right?
Yeah.
Scotty,
Camporelli thought it was going to be reversed.
not enough for a reversal, mate. You had the ball.
Scott McLaren with the special comments.
Gee. Generous in his old age, is Scott McLaren.
Now Rivers. Less than 13 minutes remaining in this term. The Demons with 1 goal and the Blues with 1 as well. And that's been the only scores. White.
Right.
Heffernan. Now Robertson's got space. He can run here. And now Thompson's man peeled off Norman, and he did well to force a boundary throw in. Robertson couldn't keep it in.
He's just battling a bit, Russell Robinson. A couple of marks we just saw in this quarter, and then that hasn't timed it well. He's probably just working his way through a bit of a trough in form.
Half forward for the Demons. And, well, wide boundary throw in. Norman. Camporelli on the outskirts.
Right.
Loads up at Torp. Hits it fairly well towards centre. Half forward. Mark of the year could be taken today.
Everyone's having a go.
French sprays that kick wide.
Play on.
Now Melbourne will go to the southern side. White.
Play on.
Well,
Must be contagious.
getting a little agricultural late. I reckon if they offered both teams now the 92-point margin, they'd take it. Let's go back to that lap and hack out of midair. Phew. Dangerous for Green and Lappin in the end. Someone was watching the Premier League though last night. Johnson going wide for Favola, who dives. Can't control it. Carroll. The late call up for Bizzle, filling the spot admirably. Uze for Wheatley. Stevens good tackle, boundary throwing.
He has, you've called it correctly, he's done a reasonably good job. He's been supported, though, by the delivery from Carlton into their key forward in Brendan Favola. But Nathan Carroll, first opportunity, and he has done extremely well this afternoon.
8th senior game, Nathan Carroll. This will be the first time he's sung the club song. His days as a jinx is over. Oh, Reid with courage. Brilliant. Bruce, here they go. Neat's on the lead in the pocket. Bruce wide of him. Out on the full.
About 52 is the mark, about 52.
Houlihan's going to bring it back to the centre corridor. Needed to be precise. Was with a metre to spare as Bannister goes to ground. Lappin for Norman on halfback.
Wait for the call, Nita.
We are treading water here on Fox Footy. This match, a goal apiece only in the final term. They've been playing 13 minutes.
Thanks, mate. Play on.
DeLuca for Norman. Some run out of defence, but the kick inside 50. Nothing there.
Geez, it's been a sobering experience, I think, for Carlton supporters today. On the back of what we saw last night, St Kilda and Brisbane.
Still a fair way to go.
Whew. Well, Melbourne are just delighted the way they've started the year. And I think it's just all blue sky for them as well. Be great to see them play at Brisbane or St Kilda in the next couple of weeks.
They've got West Coast here next Sunday, so based on this form, and with the Eagles coming off a tough physical match against the Dockers in the Derby, and Melbourne staying here at the G on Sunday, they will start favourites to go to 6-1.
And I think they've got the running capacity to go with St Kilda. Not many clubs have got the rotations to go with St Kilda's midfield. I think Melbourne are one of the few who have.
One of those men in question there, Thompson, Shoveling it out. Jeff White. Big man. Big man's kick.
Straight over, Teague.
20 goals, 9, and they've sprayed 3 shots at goal out on the full, the Demons.
Got no respect for the records.
No. Students of history, they ain't. Oh.
Have another go.
Teague might end up with it again. Right, this one to the hot spot. Teague closing, leaping. Will it stay in? Not quite for Brad Green. Neitz is going to have a break. Running his way to the bench. He's kicked 2 goals today, so he's got 26 for the season. He'll be just happy, though, that the team has posted another victory under his leadership. The 4th man ever to captain Melbourne in 100 games of footy. Blues also making changes. McCormick on the phone. Holland out of the ruck. Spectacular! That's the way to kick goals. Don't even think about it. 98 points the difference.
Well, it's been a welcome return to form, Ben Holland, after crossing from Richmond. He's one player that if he can really get his confidence up and running, all of a sudden this Melbourne forward line, they've been functioning very well on the back of David Neitz, but if Ben Holland can start to dominate a game, all of a sudden with Bruce down there as well and Davey, very, very, very potent forward line.
He's capable of going to centre half back as well. He played there a few times for Richmond. Jolly comes back in. Has the floodgate open? Are we going to see a succession of goals?
The margin is yet to get to 3 figures. It's 98 points now, but Armstrong is handballing towards Robertson. He's going to win a high tackle. It will come back.
And Russell Robertson just thought he'd have a fly anyway. Packed one out of the air.
Regardless of how other matches end up, Melbourne will at worst be 3rd on the ladder at the end of round 6. Ward tries to extend the lead beyond 100. Can't, but it might happen anyway because Holland's taken the mark.
Gee, generous from the umpire.
He's already kicked 4 goals, Ben Holland. He's matched his season's total prior to this. He'll take a couple of paces to his right, hook it around his body, and kick his 5th. No, hits the post. The margin 99. The attendance 38,799, so a terrific crowd given the weather forecast. It's the best for a match between these two in a home and away fixture since Carlton's last win back in the middle of the 2000 season. Demons resting some stars. White off the ground as well as Neitz. Prendergast the mark. Camporella. Bruce read that well from the moment it left his boot. Uze for Thompson. Holland short, Green long. Goes to Holland. Green will come from behind. Gather it. Handball. Heffernan. Robertson still lurking. He must be paid per goal. Excellent smother by Davey. Stevens. Cool in the crisis. And it's a big one for Carlton. 99 points down. Norman wide to the wing. Davies for Wiggins. Running away from Miller. Open forward line. Look out. Gone!
Good tackle. Didn't push him in the back. Just held the discipline.
It was Thompson who's been among their best today. Miller out wide for Johnston. Ditto. This will be his 22nd possession. Well, it wasn't his best. Johnson. Wiggins. Whitnell. Now Houlihan should take this. He will. Play on, line it up. No, he's going to be disciplined and go to Favola. Well done.
He's been a bit nervous in the 90s, have the Demons.
Carlton have been exposed today.
Haven't been able to register that big ton.
Angle's right there, Brendan. Yep, thanks.
Favola 1 goal 3 this afternoon. And the Blues searching for their 6th goal of the match.
Yeah,
Forgettable afternoon indeed.
I can see it. Okay now, Nathan.
Favola
All clear.
kicks his 2nd. Good to hear the cheers from the Blues fans sticking around despite the scoreline. 7 minutes to go, the margin 93 points.
Well, he's kicked a couple himself in that third quarter, Lance Whitnell. Got himself involved there. As I said in that third quarter, that's his value for mine. Up in the forward line, linking up with Houlihan, who was buried in a tackle only a couple of moments ago. Combining well with Brendan Favola. Second for the afternoon, but it's a day they'd rather forget the Blues and their faithful, that's for sure.
Replays of other matches today following us here on Fox Footy this afternoon. Jared and I, however, will stay on air for you, for our digital Sports Active viewers, to take the press conferences live of Neil Danaher and Dennis Pagan. We'll have another bounce, will we? No, not yet anyway.
Yeah, just ducked his head into that one.
Full over, thanks. Nah, it's all right. Held in, Tar. Tar, thanks. Tar. Fair, thanks for that.
Crunch.
Did well not to go down. He is very solidly built. The 24-year-old Philip Reid.
Well done. Nothing in it. Tap it out.
Favola getting some touches in the middle. Heffernan hacks it out of mid-air. Davey. Armstrong on the run. Goes for it. Gets it. The flirtation with a 100-point lead continues.
Well, Armstrong is a player that we haven't seen much of this season, but he is a very, very talented player. You just saw the combination there of Davey into Armstrong. Heffernan first, gets it out. Davey light, just quick turn of speed, and then just on the run was Armstrong. And we just know how talented he is. So you throw his abilities into that midfield and forward, and it's getting a pretty scary group of runners for the Demons.
Davey with another goal assist there, and another joyous celebration from the young man. 99 points the lead. Their previous best ever against Carlton, 81, 107 years ago. Should eclipse that today, although there's still 6 minutes to go. Norman.
Wait for the call, mate. He's right. Wait for the call.
Wonder what they talked about on White Line Fever after that match.
Not sure. Miller with the hand pass over the top. Uze's kick ill-directed.
I reckon there's been a couple of times where they've got the jumpers confused.
Yep.
Thanks, mate.
Either that or it was a bad kick.
Well, the Melbourne strip's certainly darker now than it was, what, 25 years ago. And on a gloomy sort of afternoon, even with the lights on, it makes it hard. Brown and Whitnell foot race. Both dive on it. Whitnell. No one put the body on him. Hooks it over his shoulder. Great goal, Lance.
All clear.
He's got his third of the second half.
Well, I guess it's a small consolation. Goal coming in what has been referred to as junk time, but they've been few and far between. But look, pat on the back to Lance here. Something he has been criticised for recent times has been his second and third efforts, but that was a good example there. Contested well, quick up onto the feet. The big number 8 gets his third.
Margin back to 93 points. So Demons have won the quarter by a point. Prendergast goes to ground with the help of Bruce. Scotland.
Kick.
Forced away from Wiggins. Good recovery though. Just belts it into the chest of Norman. Kicks hurriedly forward. Brown can't control it. Heffernan goes to ground. We'll have a bounce on the Carlton 50.
No. Scotty, come on, mate.
142 plays 49. Still have been plenty of highlights from the afternoon, particularly from a Demon perspective. Uze's seen plenty of it. That's his 30th possession. Thompson would be happy for the boundary line here. And we'll have a throw in front of the new construction for the grandstand, which once completed is going to take the capacity of footy's headquarters beyond 100,000 again. And won't it be impressive? The work coming along quickly. Good crowd today, nearly 39,000. And the construction continuing at a rapid rate.
I got a handball, that's fine.
Favola gets it out by hand. Walker to Scotland, unconventionally but effectively. Now they might turn it over. Heffernan on the wing.
Been a positive, Heffernan. I think he's had his best game for the year.
Robertson has to wait. Close to the boundary line. Floating one towards the centre corridor is effective for Thompson. Davies leading into space. He goes a little longer. Armstrong reading it well. Just his second game for the year. Stephen Armstrong chance to kick his second goal for the quarter.
Stay go. Thanks, mate. Angle's right there. He's right on it.
Andrew Walker getting some bruises in his second AFL game. Has been all right, though. Armstrong makes it 99 points the difference. 3:24 remain. And it has been a parade for the Demons today. 5th consecutive victory, matching the entire win tally for 2003.
Well, Armstrong hasn't had a lot of game time, but he's had an impact, hasn't he?
Yep. Davey and Camporelli, Armstrong. Gee, that's a achievement for Davey, having Camporelli put onto him.
Nothing silly.
Wow. Will it get to 100 points the difference? That's our question.
Oh.
Norman bobbles the marking attempt. Bouncing ball in the middle. Melbourne, Godfrey. Norman the good pressure. Here's a go, though, for the Demons now. Miller to Heffernan, to Bruce. Lining up for another one. The margin. Beyond 100. Bruce Almighty indeed. He's kicked 6. Demons have kicked 24. And now the next record. They're 1 point shy of their all-time best ever score against Carlton. They've been meeting since 1897.
Well, they've done that all afternoon. It's just winning around the stoppages, clean possession. Cameron Bruce has had a great afternoon, but Jared, just impressed. Two or three quick steps, great finish.
It's quality, isn't he? It's a quality finisher. I'm with you on that. Still like I just want to reiterate, Heffernan is going to be a player for this club at some stage. I know he's involved in a controversial switch, but he was involved there in getting the ball out of heavy traffic going to Bruce.
If you'd like to keep going.
And there again.
Brown towards half forward, a wobbly one will have a throw in.
Supporters hate to dump the triple figure. They just hate losing by over 100. They can cope with a belting. This has been a shocker, but when it's in and around that 100 points, I think it just means that bit more.
Get the arms out of it!
What will the preacher, the Reverend, have to say about it? Reverend Danaher.
Good.
We'll find out after the match. In our post-game coverage. Winning free kicks, Armstrong. Robertson's darting this way, that away. He wants the footy. Armstrong pops it up. 3 of them are going to fly for Melbourne. Ball eluded, Davey waiting down. Norman spinning out of trouble. Camporelli to the wing for Vola. Now a chance. Can they get it back under 100, the Blues? Inside 50, foot race. Walker pursuing Uze. There's Rivers winning a free kick.
Just going back to that last fly, I think that's where Russell Robinson just needs to reassess his situation. He's no longer the key man up forward. There's a couple of other big bodies. If the ball's there to be marked, yeah, but, you know, that was one where he should have stayed out of it and gone for a crumb, and he's going to get a lot more return if he does.
Armstrong shorts it. Here's Robertson at ground level. Good pickup. Swings onto the right. Passes it off to Bruce. File that in the archives. Robbo from 50 passes to a man in hot form. Well done, Russell. And Cameron Bruce lining up for number 7.
There's his value.
Well, that's more importantly. Just your bread and butter's on the ground. He's one of those freakish players who can take the mark of the year, mark of the century, but get your bread and butter sorted out before you go for the cream.
Bruce's 7th signifies Melbourne's highest ever score against their old rival. 25-10, 160. It's bingo for the Demons this afternoon.
Good stuff from Russell Robertson. Really smart play. Got it up, looked up, didn't blaze away. And just terrific team effort.
And the margin is 111.
Cameron Bruce, he's a player, isn't he?
And today, he's having a day out. Entered this match with 9 goals too. Has kicked 7-2 today. Is there time for more? A minute to go. Brown, long. It'll carry. It'll carry. Well read, Houlihan. Short for Norman. He can just chip it down to Davies. Final minute of an horrible, horrible afternoon for the rebuilding Carlton. Prendergast wide, that was touched. 43 seconds remaining. And the Melbourne fans will sing this song with gusto, won't they? 5 consecutive wins over Richmond by nearly 10 goals. The Bulldogs by 10 points. Port Adelaide by just on 9 goals. A 2-goal win in Sydney. And now a win of just on 18 goals here.
Let him go back, let him go. Right there, no more.
Teague dashing back to his mark.
Play on, going around.
Pops it up. Time for a late one for the Blues for Whitnell. No, Rivers resolute to the bitter end, fisting it down. Davies taking on Uze. Uze trying to soccer it out of there. Scotland stolen by Ward. Norman will ensure Melbourne won't score again. Houlihan towards half forward. Pressure. Chance to finish with a goal. Davies goes for it and beats the siren. Grand old flag indeed. Right now it's grand days for the Melbourne Footy Club. Of the highest order at the MCG on this Sunday afternoon as Neil Danaher's Demons win their 5th straight match. They didn't just win it, they pulverised Carlton to the tune of 105 points. 25-10 to 8-7. Davey was a live wire. Bruce kicked 7 goals. Holland bobbed up with 4. Green kicked 3. Uze won 31 possessions. White was dominant in the ruck with 26 touches and 17 hitouts. Heffernan stepped up with 25 possessions. Johnston and Rivers starred. There were no passengers today on this Melbourne team. Let's go down to Tiff Cherry.
Well, I've got 2 of the stars of the show today. Well, Aaron, first of all, you've played in all 6 games. It's just been a dream run for you, hasn't it?
It's all coming together. Couldn't wish for a better start of the year, and it's just going real well. Boys are winning and just playing well.
And Cameron, just before we talk about your performance, the young guys like this, they're really standing up and really making it an effort and obviously an impact.
Yeah, definitely. That even contribution by everyone. That's what we lacked last year, and the intensity that everyone's maintaining throughout the 4 quarters has been tremendous. We've got players coming in, the pressure from the Sandringham group, is keeping everyone on their toes. So,
what about you? Would that have to be one of your best games?
Yeah, it was a good result. It's hopefully can keep the consistency.
It didn't almost rain today. It was a tiny little bit, but you guys just rained goals. It's great for your percentage.
Oh, yeah, no, we just wanted to make sure that we finished them off. Last year we would have got a lead and given it up, so it was a terrific result to win the 4 quarters.
And that was your biggest margin by over Carlton, just to let you boys know, so well done.
Yeah, record-breaking day. Highest ever score against the Blues. Greatest winning margin. 5 wins in a row now. Melbourne over Carlton. Dennis Pagan and his coaching staff a significant reality check at the moment today. I know they wouldn't have been getting ahead of themselves, but their supporters were getting confident, particularly after the big win against the Eagles and a chance to be in the 8 at the end of this round. But it's a big setback ahead of a return bout with Collingwood here next Saturday.
Look, it was a devastating day for the Blues. They looked as if they were, you know, on the march to some degree. I don't think anybody expected them to, you know, finish the season off even in the 8th. But this is just a reversal of form, and I think that Dennis Pagan, the cool light of day, will see it as that, Wayne, that no point dismantling the club and throwing everybody out just because of one absolute shocker. Got to put it in its perspective, address it, and then move on. And every club's had a flat one. Melbourne got flogged in round 1, don't forget, and they have just put that into perspective and really have announced to the rest of the competition, I think, that they are in this for the business end of the season. They play Brisbane in round 10 up at the Gabba, and I think by that stage we're going to find out just how far this club has come. But Carlton have just got to put this game behind them and get back on with the business of being competitive.
Well, you'd like to think that it's an aberration for the Blues today because they were terrific, but I guess when looking at the game now that it's all said and done, they've perhaps got a game that's more suited to Optus Oval. When you get to a large ground, Melbourne have certainly got a game where they have got not only a dour defence, a very potent forward line, but a midfield that has plenty of run and options through the middle. And they do play this ground exceptionally well. They beat Port here a couple of weeks ago. They went to Sydney and beat them at Telstra Stadium. They've come back and they've just dismantled Carlton today. But like you said, Dennis will keep it into perspective. They've got a chance next week to redeem themselves. But look, that was a thing last year. They would like to have thought that they were well and truly past 100-point drubbing.
Let's go to the running pair. You got young Steve Armstrong who came on. Phil Reed's a recruit. Nathan Brown has been a star this year and one of the better running defenders in the comp. Paul Wheatley started on the bench but had a real impact when he came on. Godfrey, one of the best stoppers in the business, continues to add his bulk. Whelan is a tough defender who can go into the middle. Brad Green adds class. Thompson, another tough player that's developing his skills. Ward, a runner. Travis Johnson, class and getting better. Heffernan, Bruce and Uze, 3 super players. So they have got a triple rotation at their beck and call if required, and I think that's the sort of capacity you need to beat the top sides in the competition.
Well, this is going to be a pretty good rendition, you fancy, of the club song. 5 wins in a row. At worst, they'll be 3rd on the ladder. It is indeed a grand old flag, and for Nathan Carroll, it's his first ever win in a Melbourne jumper.